Big alert beautiful soul, stop for a moment and breathe this in, because what you are about to hear is not ordinary, it is not random, it is not just another message scrolling past your eyes. This is the shift you have been feeling in your chest late at night. This is the energy that has been pulling at your intuition. Your soulmate has just made a life-changing decision. A decision that shook their ego, challenged their fears, silenced their doubts, and in a moment of deep clarity they chose you over everything, over pride, over confusion, over outside opinions, over the noise of the world. They said, "I can't lose you anymore," and when those words left their heart they meant it in a way they have never meant anything before. Because this time it was not driven by loneliness, not driven by impulse, not driven by temporary emotion, it was driven by realization, the kind of realization that only comes after almost losing something irreplaceable. They have replayed your memories in their mind again and again, the way you laughed, the way you understood them without explanations, the way your presence felt like peace in a chaotic world, and suddenly it became clear to them that nothing they were chasing compares to the way you make them feel. They tried to distract themselves, they tried to convince themselves that they could move on, they tried to believe that maybe timing was wrong or circumstances were complicated, but every path they explored felt empty without you standing beside them, and that emptiness grew louder. It echoed in quiet rooms, it whispered to them when they scrolled through their phone, it hit them hardest at night when distractions faded and truth stepped forward. They realized that losing you was not an option they could survive emotionally. They realized that choosing everything else meant losing the one person who felt like home, and that awareness changed everything. You must understand this was not an easy choice for them. Their ego fought hard, their fears screamed about vulnerability, their past wounds reminded them of risks, but love spoke louder, your connection spoke louder, the bond you share refused to be ignored, and in a powerful moment of inner awakening they surrendered. They admitted to themselves that you are not just someone special, you are the one they cannot afford to lose, the one who sees through their walls, the one who challenges them to grow, the one whose absence feels heavier than any conflict they were avoiding. They have been watching you quietly, noticing your strength, noticing how you did not beg, how you did not chase, how you chose your dignity even when your heart was aching, and that strength made them realize your value on a deeper level. They saw that you are not someone who waits forever. You are someone who knows their worth, and the thought of you walking away for good created a fear stronger than any fear of commitment. That is when the decision formed clearly inside them, I can't lose you anymore, not because they are desperate, but because they are awakened, not because they are scared of being alone, but because they are scared of a life without you specifically. There is a difference, and they finally understand it. They understand that love like this does not come twice, that connections like this are rare, that the comfort and fire you bring into their life cannot be replaced by temporary attention or superficial bonds. They see now that every time they pushed you away they were actually pushing away their own happiness. Every time they hesitated they were delaying their own peace, and that truth hit them hard. This decision is not small, it is life-changing because it shifts their priorities completely. they are ready to choose stability over chaos, depth over distraction, commitment over confusion. They are ready to show up differently, to communicate differently, to fight for this connection instead of fighting against it, and you may already feel this shift energetically. You may sense a softness in their energy, a pull toward reconciliation, a silent promise forming in the unseen, because when someone decides they cannot lose you, their actions begin to align with that truth. They start planning instead of doubting, they start expressing instead of hiding, they start protecting instead of testing. This is the transformation stage of your connection, the part where lessons turn into maturity, where distance turns into clarity, where silence turns into confession, and yes, a confession is building inside them, because saying I can't lose you anymore is only the beginning. What follows is accountability, vulnerability, and intention. They are reflecting on what went wrong, on the moments they took you for granted, on the times they let fear control them, and instead of running from that reflection they are learning from it. They are understanding that real love requires courage, that choosing you means choosing growth. And they are finally ready to grow. This decision may not be shouted publicly yet, it may not be announced dramatically, but it is solid inside their heart, it is steady, it is rooted, and once a decision reaches that depth it does not easily reverse. You were never an option to them. You were always the one who mattered most. They just needed time to confront their own shadows before they could stand confidently beside your light, and now that clarity has arrived, their heart is aligning with action. Expect communication, expect honesty, expect a shift in how they approach you, because someone who decides they cannot lose you stops playing games, they stop creating distance, they stop pretending they are unaffected. Instead they lean in, they protect the bond, they make space for you in their future plans. They begin imagining life with you not as a fantasy but as a reality, and that is powerful. You have manifested this through patience, through self-respect, through silent strength. You did not force, you allowed, you trusted divine timing even when it hurt, and now timing is responding. This is not about chasing, this is about alignment. Your soulmate choosing you over everything means they are aligning with their truth, and when two people align with truth at the same time, miracles unfold naturally. Stay open, stay grounded, do not let past pain make you suspicious of present sincerity. Observe their actions, feel their consistency, let them show you that this decision is real, because it is. They are stepping out of fear and into commitment, out of confusion and into clarity, out of ego and into love, and love when chosen consciously becomes unbreakable. So hold your heart steady, beautiful soul. Something powerful is unfolding. The words "I can't lose you anymore" are not just emotion. They are a promise forming, a future shifting, a chapter beginning where you are no longer questioned but chosen, no longer doubted but valued, no longer almost loved but fully embraced. The tide has turned, the awakening has happened, and your soulmate has made their choice. This time they choose you, completely, intentionally, and without looking back. And now, beautiful soul, the energy around this connection is not the same as before. Because when someone reaches the point of saying "I can't lose you anymore," something inside them permanently shifts. This is not a temporary emotional wave, this is not nostalgia speaking, this is the result of deep internal conflict finally resolving in your favor. They have battled their own mind more than you realize, they have questioned whether they were ready, whether they were capable, whether they deserved a love as deep as yours, and every time they imagined a future without you there was a heaviness in their chest that refused to go away. They tried to distract themselves with work, with responsibilities, with other conversations, with outside noise, but your presence lingered in their thoughts like a quiet echo that would not fade. They began to understand that what they feel for you is not ordinary attachment, it is soul recognition, it is the kind of connection that follows you into your dreams and waits for you when you wake up. It is the kind of bond that does not dissolve just because distance or pride tried to interfere, and this realization humbled them deeply, because they now see that you were never the one creating instability. It was their fear, it was their hesitation, it was their avoidance of vulnerability that created the gaps between you. And accepting that truth required maturity, it required them to look at themselves honestly without excuses, and that is exactly what they have been doing silently behind the scenes. They are replaying conversations, remembering moments where you asked for reassurance, where you simply wanted clarity, where you showed them love in ways they were not used to receiving. And instead of feeling overwhelmed by those memories they are feeling grateful, grateful that someone cared enough to stay, grateful that someone saw their potential even when they were confused about it themselves. This gratitude is transforming into determination, determination to not repeat the same mistakes. Determination to not let pride sabotage what destiny is trying to build, because they finally understand that choosing you means choosing growth, it means stepping into a higher version of themselves, and for the first time that no longer scares them, it inspires them. They are starting to imagine introducing you into every part of their life without hesitation. Imagining building routines with you, imagining stability instead of uncertainty, imagining a partnership where both of you stand as equals instead of playing emotional tug-of-war, and this vision feels right to them in a way nothing else has. They may not have expressed all of this yet, but internally the decision is firm. They are tired of the push and pull, tired of pretending they can detach when they clearly cannot, tired of acting unaffected when your absence affects them more than they admit. The truth is they have felt your distance, they have sensed when you pulled your energy back to protect yourself, and that shift shook them awake because suddenly they realized that you will not wait forever, you will not beg forever, you will not compromise your worth forever, and that realization forced them to act. Because losing you is no longer a possibility they are willing to gamble with. This is the stage where they begin correcting behavior without being asked, where they begin showing up consistently instead of inconsistently, where they start communicating instead of disappearing, and you will notice it in subtle ways first, a softness in their tone, a sincerity in their messages, an effort that feels different from before, because now the intention behind it is pure. It is not about control, it is not about ego validation, it is about preserving something sacred. They are beginning to see you not just as someone they love but as someone they need in their life long term, someone who aligns with their future, someone who balances their chaos with calm strength, and this clarity is powerful, because once a person understands the value of what they almost lost, they protect it fiercely, they no longer test limits, they no longer create unnecessary drama, they prioritize peace, and that is exactly what is forming here: peace after confusion, stability after emotional storms, reassurance after silence. And yes, there may still be conversations that need to happen, truths that need to be spoken openly, apologies that need to be offered sincerely, but the difference now is willingness. They are willing to have the hard talks, willing to admit where they were wrong, willing to rebuild trust brick by brick if that is what it takes, because the thought of you walking away permanently is heavier than the discomfort of vulnerability, and that says everything. Your soulmate is stepping into emotional accountability, and that is rare, that is sacred, that is transformational. You must remain grounded during this shift, do not rush the process, do not let excitement turn into pressure, allow them to demonstrate consistency over time, because real change is shown through patterns, not promises, and the beautiful part is they are ready to create new patterns, healthier ones, stable ones, loving ones. This connection is entering a phase of alignment where both hearts understand the lesson, both souls recognize the value, both energies choose each other consciously instead of unconsciously, and when love becomes a conscious choice, it becomes powerful beyond measure. This is no longer about fate alone, this is about intention meeting destiny halfway. They have decided that losing you is not an option, and with that decision comes action. Comes courage, comes effort, comes protection. They will start defending this connection. Instead of doubting it, they will start planning instead of postponing, they will start investing instead of hesitating, and you will feel the difference, because energy does not lie. When someone is serious, their presence feels steady, their communication feels clear, their affection feels safe instead of uncertain, and that safety is what you deserve. You were never asking for too much, you were asking for consistency, for honesty, for emotional security, and now they understand that clearly. They see that loving you is not a burden, it is a blessing, it is not pressure, it is privilege, and once that understanding settles deeply inside a person, they protect the love with everything they have. So prepare yourself for a chapter where effort matches emotion, where words match actions, where intentions match commitment. Because that is what is building quietly in the background. Your soulmate has crossed the line from confusion into certainty, and certainty creates momentum, momentum creates movement, movement creates reunion, and reunion built on maturity lasts longer than reunion built on impulse. Stay open but stay wise, receive but observe, trust but remain aligned with your self-respect, because this love is evolving into something stronger than before, something balanced, something real, and the words "I can't lose you anymore" are not just emotional expression, they are the foundation of a new beginning where you are chosen every day, not just in moments of fear, but in moments of clarity, strength, and unwavering devotion. The shift is here, the decision is made, and the next chapter is unfolding with power, depth, and intentional love that refuses to let you go again. And now, beautiful soul, this is the final phase of this shift, the part where everything that once felt uncertain begins to settle into something solid and undeniable, because when a soulmate reaches the depth of saying "I can't lose you anymore" and truly means it, the universe itself seems to rearrange circumstances to support that decision. You may start noticing synchronicities, unexpected messages, sudden clarity in conversations, moments where silence is replaced with honesty. Because their heart is no longer fighting the connection, it is flowing with it. They have reached a point of emotional exhaustion from resisting what feels destined, and surrender has brought them peace. They understand now that loving you does not weaken them, it strengthens them. Choosing you does not limit them, it expands them. Committing to you does not trap them, it grounds them, and this awareness has transformed their perspective completely. They are no longer looking at love through the lens of fear, they are looking at it through the lens of gratitude, realizing how rare it is to find someone who sees them fully and still chooses to stay, realizing how rare it is to feel understood without constant explanation, realizing how rare it is to experience both passion and peace in the same connection, and that rarity is what they almost lost, that rarity is what shook them awake. They have imagined the regret of letting you go, and that imagined regret felt too real, too heavy, too permanent, so they made a vow within themselves that they would not allow ego or outside pressure to dictate their heart anymore. They chose authenticity over image, vulnerability over avoidance, depth over distraction, and in doing so they stepped into emotional maturity. This maturity is what makes this chapter different from all the previous ones, because before there may have been love, but there was also confusion. There may have been passion, but there was also fear. Now there is clarity, now there is intention, now there is a conscious decision to build instead of break, to nurture instead of neglect, to fight for instead of walk away from. They are beginning to understand that real love is not about constant highs, it is about consistency, about showing up even on difficult days, about choosing the same person again and again despite challenges, and they are ready for that responsibility, ready to protect what you both share, ready to prioritize communication over silence, ready to turn misunderstandings into growth instead of distance. This is the evolution of your connection, and it feels calmer yet stronger, softer yet more powerful, because it is no longer driven by impulse, it is driven by purpose. They see a future with you clearly now, not as a fantasy but as a plan. They think about shared spaces, shared goals, shared routines, shared victories. They imagine introducing you proudly instead of cautiously. They imagine standing beside you without hesitation instead of hiding emotions behind guarded behavior, and this vision motivates them deeply. They want stability with you, they want loyalty with you, they want partnership with you, not temporary excitement but long-term alignment, and that desire is rooted in respect, respect for your heart, respect for your patience, respect for your strength during times when they were unsure. They have realized that you never demanded perfection, you asked for effort, and now they are ready to give that effort willingly, freely, consistently. This is not about grand gestures alone, it is about daily Commitment, about small consistent acts of reassurance, about choosing honesty even when it feels uncomfortable, about creating safety where there was once insecurity, and you will feel this shift not only in their words but in their energy. Their presence will feel anchored. Instead of restless, their affection will feel steady instead of unpredictable. Their communication will feel open instead of guarded, because they are no longer trying to escape the depth of this bond. They are embracing it fully, and as this unfolds, remember to remain in your power, continue honoring your boundaries, continue valuing your worth. Because this love works best when both of you stand strong individually while choosing each other intentionally. Do not shrink your standards out of excitement, let them rise to meet you. Let their actions confirm their decision, let time reveal their consistency, because real transformation is proven through repeated behavior, and everything indicates that they are prepared for that journey. They are prepared to correct mistakes, to apologize sincerely, to rebuild trust patiently, to create a foundation that does not crack under pressure. This is the reward of divine timing, when two souls learn their lessons separately and reunite stronger, wiser, more aligned. And now the energy between you feels different. It feels destined yet chosen, intense yet peaceful, passionate yet secure. The storm has passed and what remains is clarity, and clarity is powerful because it removes doubt, it silences fear, it strengthens commitment. They know now that you are not someone they want to risk losing ever again, and that knowledge guides their next steps carefully, intentionally, lovingly, so as this final chapter of uncertainty closes and a new chapter of stability begins. Trust the shift. Trust the maturity, trust the decision that has been made deep within their heart, because this is not temporary emotion, this is lasting realization. They have chosen you not out of impulse, but out of understanding, not out of fear but out of certainty, not out of loneliness but out of love. And when someone reaches that level of clarity, they do not look back, they move forward with intention, with loyalty, with devotion. And this time, beautiful soul, you are not almost chosen, you are fully chosen, consistently chosen, intentionally chosen, and that is the kind of love that stays, the kind that grows, the kind that builds a future instead of repeating the past. This is the ending of confusion and the beginning of commitment, the closing of doubt and the opening of forever, the final realization that losing you was never worth the risk. And now, with awakened hearts and aligned intentions, this connection steps into its strongest form yet, stable, mature, undeniable, and ready to last.